All right, hello everybody. This is Anna in a Chaos Studio, and today I want to do a comparison video between Prismacolor, which is a really well-known brand, and the Five Below color pencils. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about a little bit about color pencils now. I'll be honest when I tell you when I started, like I said, I'm a kid from the 80s, 90s, and let me tell you, as an art kid, like you had the Crayola box that you're just like, oh my god, this is like the greatest Crayola box ever, especially if you got the 100 with the little sharpener on there. And then as an artist, an aspiring artist, one of the things that I really wanted was a Prismacolor color box. And eventually my mom, we were not very, very wealthy people. And my mom, like, this was her prize art supply. So this is actually my mother's original Prismacolor box. And I try to keep it in pristine shape. It's more sentimental more than anything. And right here it says 1999. Okay, so this is one that she pretty much got later on, but she had an earlier box in this one. And those are the ones you see in the little box right here. The box deteriorated, so she kept it in a container, and then she passed them on to me when she couldn't see well and she couldn't handle the pencils very well anymore. So she gave them to me, and I still have the mass majority of these. Now, let's go ahead and really talk about the three type of pencils you're going to encounter if you ever use Prismacolor. So I'm going to move in a little bit closer. And the first thing that I am going to show you is if you ever find an older pencil, let me see if I can get it to focus. Right here, focus. Let me see if I can get it to focus. Okay, right here you see it says barrel and it says Prismacolor right here, and there's a huge number right here at the end. This pretty much tells you the mixture. If you ever find any of these Prismacolors that says barrel on it, these are some of the older ones pre like 1990s. So between the 1960s and around the early 1990s, Barrel used to be able to make most of the color pencils for Prismacolor. However, in the early 1990s to mid 1990s, they switched to one is called Sanford, and you see it right here. I think I have it upside down. Yes. Yep, there you go. Sanford. You see it right there, Sanford pencils. So they have been creating the color pencils ever since. So if you ever hear somebody saying, hey, Barrel Prismacolor or Sanford Prismacolor, they're the same thing. They're just from two different time periods. That's pretty much all that it is. Now, there is a third type of color pencil that you will see by Prismacolor, and I use this a lot for my comic books, and these are the color erase pencils. Okay, so they're literally a color pencil that you can't quote unquote erase. If you draw lightly, it is possible. However, if you draw like me, where I do very clean lines for like animation and comics, it's very hard to erase. So I pretty much just whatever mistakes I make, I try to clean them up, but then I do really, really good cleanups in Photoshop. So that I just kind of want to talk about a little bit of that history about Prismacolor pencils, so that way if you do encounter them on the wild, you go, why is it Barrel versus Sanford? Well, now you know why. Now, let's go and continue from there. Now, what I want to do today, I want to use this right here. This is mixed media paper right here. I'll show you guys. This is a little notebook that I just kind of use. Now, anytime you're picking out paper, make sure you understand, and I said this before, you understand what kind of paper this is for. So this is good for acrylics, watercolor, pen, and pencil. And that's why I always love the mixed media, because I tend to dabble in mixed media on my own. So I would go from watercolor pencil or watercolor to sometimes ink and sometimes pencil in it. So I just kind of bounce around when I'm doing an illustration. So mixed media paper is literally has been my favorite, the most versatile for the kind of work that I do. So I always suggest folks, if you just kind of like to bounce around, mixed media is your boy. So that I like my mixed media paper. So now, what makes these colored pencils special? Now, excuse me, I need to cough in the microphone. The one thing that you want to keep in mind is how much pigmentation versus wax is in the pencil itself. So when you draw with these, you see right here, I'm going to move really close. You can see right there that it's a really nice rich color tone. It's really nice and solid. The lead is soft, which is great. However, here's the problem about these really nice rich lead pencils, and that is kind of like we talked about the B pencils. The softer the lead, the faster you will go through them. And I can show you a couple examples right here. So like my white pencils are really tiny. Same thing goes with some of my reds because I used to draw a lot of flowers in my earlier career. And I still do. That's one of like my personal stuff to do. So you can see I even keep the knobs because you can't even find the barrel ones anymore. That's how good these are. Okay. But for most part, it's the pigmentation. That is the big difference. Now, when I was a kid, what was considered like the worst color pencil set, but nobody knew better because, you know, grandma and grandpa, your parents are like, oh, my little kid is an artist. I'll just get him rose art. And, if you know anybody that ever had some art experience in the 90s, and they will tell you that rose art was like, you might as well just give you Crayola, because that's pretty much what rose art. It was like the in between Crayola and quote unquote trying to be a professional brand at a discount, but it was mostly wax. That's pretty much that was the main problem with it. Okay, I'm having a hard time pulling this out. Okay, there we go. I was like, what am I doing wrong? Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'll be honest when I say I don't have much expectations for these. These are only $5, and I'm already looking at this at the tip, and it looks like there's a much higher amount of wax in it. So let's give it a test. Oh yeah, you can. I mean, it's not bad, but you already can feel that this is mostly waxy. See how I cannot get. So here, let me get you a similar color. Let me see. Let me look right here. Show my colored pencil set. No, this. I even have one that's similar. Okay, do I have a dark green? What dark green do I have? And it seems like they gave you multiples of the same ones. Let me see if I'm seeing this right. These things are not even marked, so you don't even know what kind of green you're dealing with. So you have to eyeball it. Okay, so these two are pretty similar, okay? So let's go ahead and compare. So this is a, wow, this is an all flexible, there we go. This is a barrel Prismacolor green. Versus generic off-brand by Five Below. See, look at the difference in pigmentation. It's so much lighter. You can even feel it on the texture when you kind of like just go over it. It's just night and day. So you can see this right here. This is very close to the color pencil, like the shade. And this is very reminiscent of very high quality color pencil. The color you see out on the pencil itself is the color that is going to be reflected in the pigment, versus this one right here, that is nowhere close to what that pigmentation is. Now, here is what this color pencil is good for, okay? Don't snuff it out. If all you got is $5, you got is $5. That's totally fine. Like I said, I didn't get started with really fancy schmancy stuff. I had to, like, what is the we used to say back in the day, I used to duke it out with whatever I could get, and then I was able to get inventive with the limited tools that I had. So this is good for someone that is starting. So if you have a little one that, you know, maybe a teenager, they don't have a lot of like experience, or you don't know they really want to do art as a career, this is a perfect set. If all you want to do is color those color me in coloring books, perfect set. So that's pretty much, I mean, for $5, look at this. It is 70 color pencils. You cannot beat that for 70 color pencils. So all in all, like I said, if you're a beginner or you're just kind of doing this as a hobby, this is actually for $5. That is not bad at all. So this to me kind of strikes me more of for someone that's trying to do those coloring books, or they're just starting. So if that's the case, $5, perfect, thumbs up. If you're trying to do something more professional, if you're able to, go ahead and try to get something more high caliber, such as the Prismacolor. Like I said, Prismacolor is like the Adobe of the art world. Like, it's one of those things we want to quit and we want to try to find something else, but we always go back to good old reliable Prismacolor. Are there any other color pencil brands? Absolutely. Are there some that cost way more than Prismacolor? Yes. Am I gonna be crazy enough to go out and get those? No, because I think I've had this conversation once before. If I feel I'm one of those people, again, I didn't grow up very wealthy. So if I feel like I paid too much for my art supplies, my instant reflex is this is scarce. I might not be able to replenish the pencils that, because some of these, like, so Prismacolor, you could still buy the individual pencil, but some of the other brands it's a little harder to do. So in my mind, I'm gonna want to hoard it and not use it. So it's pretty much like me wasting away my money. Do I use these today? Absolutely. I now that I'm a little older and I've had these for a while, in memory of my mom, I do use these on my little paintings, which I think I've shown once before. Here, actually, let me pull one up real quick. Give me a second. I do use them in memory of her. We recently just passed her 9-year anniversary of her passing. Oh, there we go. There's the case. And I'll show you some of the illustrations that I did using these Prismacolor pencils. And here. So like I said, I do mixed media. So here's a couple paintings or little drawings that I did this year. So this is a watercolor pencil with color pencil, and this is the same stuff you're seeing here. Here's another one I did this year as well. Okay. Here's one that I believe I recently streamed. Yep, this is the one that I recently streamed. And here's one of my old roommate's cat. And this is a mix of regular pencil, watercolor pencil, color pencil, and gel pens. So this is why I said that I really like mixed media, because it allows me the flexibility to use what I want for what I'm using, for what I'm doing for that project, and I'm not limited by the paper. But anyway, guys, I pretty much just want to give an honest feedback between what would be considered a professional color pencil versus the Five Below. Like I said, if this is all you can afford right now, this is a steal. 70 color pencils for $5. Not bad, especially if you're starting or you got young ones where they seem to be inclined to art, but you don't have the means to spend $100+ to get this, which I totally get. Life is expensive. I got you, fam. Maybe this is like a graduation, or I'm going to art college kind of thing. So in the meantime, you kind of give them this. This is not bad. So for the price to the value, I give it a 4.5. Mostly because if I wanted to get the same color that I'm seeing on the pencil, that's where that kind of where it loses me. But other than that, it's great. Now it will not compare to the Prismacolors. It will not. But again, I think it's a fantastic value for the cost, and that is my honest opinion. But anyway, guys, let me know if you like this type of content. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to continue doing some more of these like supply reviews, and I would love to hear your experience. If you use these supplies, these entry-level supplies, let me know what do you think about them. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Does it remind you of rose art and make you cringe like it used to give us back in the rose art was mostly 80% wax. Let's just call it what it is. It was just wax with a tint of color. But anyway, guys, I welcome your feedback. Like I said, please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Cheers.